Yo, what is going on, everyone? My name is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, and in today's video, I bring you guys Week 14 quarterback rankings for fantasy football in 2020. Inside of this video, we are going to be going over my top 20 ranked quarterbacks for week number 14 of the 2020 fantasy football season. Before we get into it, I'd like to ask if that you are new to my channel and you end up enjoying this video at any point, if you could please make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. Not only is it free, I put out this content every single day to help you guys win your 2020 fantasy football championship. We're getting close to championship time, and it's time to supplant your flag into the ground like you were on the goddamn moon to win that 2020 championship. And real quick, before we get deep into it, I'd like to give you guys a quick word from my friends and my sponsor over at mybookie.ag. MyBookie.ag is the bookie of choice for Notorious Fantasy YouTube channel. It's the most wonderful time of the year that can't end soon enough. We all deserve a win. We all deserve a little extra money in our pockets, and we all deserve to have a little bit of fun. The only place you're guaranteed to get all three is at MyBookie.ag. They're the only sportsbook that doesn't care whether you've been naughty or nice this year. They've got gifts for everyone. Bet NFL, NBA, all your favorite college sports, and more on MyBookie.ag. Sign up today and receive the ultimate stocking stuffer, a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000. It's simple. Sign up, enter promo code NOTORIOUSLY at checkout, and gain your discount matched halfway up to $1,000. Head over to mybookie.ag to make the most of the holidays this year and spurt into 2021 with cash in your pocket. The winner, bet with the best, bet with mybookie.ag. And we are back. Let's get into it. Week 14 quarterback rankings. We begin with quarterbacks 1 through 10. Coming in at number 1, we have Russell Wilson versus the New York Football Jets. Now, last week up against the New York Football Giants, Russell Wilson disappointed in a big way. I thought that was going to be a decent matchup for Russell Wilson. I didn't expect them to lose that game, and I certainly didn't think that they would only score a couple of points up against the New York Football Giants. But the difference here between the Jets and the Giants is definitely huge. The Jets haven't won a fucking game this season. The Giants may be able to make the playoffs. Now, obviously, they're in the worst division in football, so making the playoffs there is not even that hard. But with that said, it's still definitely an upper echelon team in comparison to the New York poverty Jets. So I think that Russell Wilson should be able to sling it and start cooking it up like Chef Ramsay in the kitchen. At number 2, we have Mr. Discount Double Check Aaron Rodgers at the Detroit Lions. This is a plus matchup for Green Bay Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers. Rodgers typically plays very well up against the Detroit Lions, and same thing can be said for the other quarterback on the other side of the ball, Matty Snapback, which does mean that this game should be relatively high scoring, which will push Aaron Rodgers to play even better. Rodgers is always a safe bet up against his rival, the Detroit Lions. And number 3, we have Patty Mahomes at the Miami Dolphins. Now, the Miami Dolphins defense is pretty good. I am a Dolphins fan, but don't think I'm just putting some type of fucking mental persuasion of my fandom here to put Pat Mahomes at 3 up against Miami is not the easiest matchup on here. That's why he's number 3. But would I be surprised if he was number 1? Definitely not. Patrick Mahomes is able to beat any type of defense. I wouldn't be surprised if he dropped 30 points on the Miami Dolphins fantasy football points. I wouldn't be surprised if he scored 42 real points up against the Miami Dolphins, because that's just the way it is, as they say. So Patrick Mahomes is a great quarterback up against Miami. This should be a tough test. His point total may not be extreme, though, if they just beat the ever-living shit out of the Dolphins and they're not able to fight back in to the game. At number 4, we have ex-Miami Dolphin quarterback Ryan Tannehill of the Tennessee Titans at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Last time these two teams went toe-to-toe, Ryan Tannehill beat the ever-living shit out of the Jacksonville Jaguars, just like Jake Paul did to Nate Robinson. I think that Ryan Tannehill is going to be able to put up another big game here at number 4 up against Jacksonville. At number 5, we have Justin Herbert, the pervert, versus the Atlanta Falcons. Now, last week, Justin Herbert literally would have made you cry if you started him in your lineup. That's how bad he did. The Patriots defense put this motherfucker in a mental pretzel that he simply could not escape. Bill Belichick literally bitch slaps every single rookie quarterback that he plays. Just a certified beat-down, super slam WWE style, and I think that Justin Herbert will have a bounce back here up against the Atlanta Falcons. This is a much easier matchup than up against the Patriots, but even the Patriots were an easy matchup, considering how easily the Rams and Sean McVay put a stranglehold on them a couple days ago on Thursday. At number 6, we have the short man, Kyler Murray, at the New York Football Giants. Now, Kyler Murray has been very much dipping in production as of recently. At the beginning of the year, this guy was looking like a fucking MVP in the NFL and the MVP of your fantasy football team. He was carrying the team on his back. Darren Sharper, hold my dick. If you've ever seen that video of Marshawn Lynch, Kyler Murray here at the New York Football Giants is definitely worrisome. We did see Russell Wilson, another short king quarterback, really struggle up against the New York Football Giants. And with Kyler's kind of ineptitude to play well as of recently, I am a bit worried about Kyler Murray this week. But with how well Kyler Murray has played in the past, I feel like he's going to break out of this strut of playing so bad and play much better here up against New York. That's why I got him here at 6. And number 7, we have Lamar Jackson at the Cleveland Browns. Now, Lamar Jackson's season has been tipsy-turvy. Some games, this guy's looking amazing. He's able to run the ball. He's able to do all the things that Lamar Jackson does to get fantasy points. Other games, the defense keys in on him. They make sure he can't run the ball, and then he doesn't do anything for fantasy football. His deep down the season schedule is very simple after Cleveland. He has very good matchups the next 2 weeks. Up against the Cleveland Browns is a must-win game for both of these teams in this division. Lamar probably wants to make the playoffs again so he could get beat the shit out because he doesn't have a single playoff win. Or he could lose this game and then likely be out. The Browns definitely supplanting themselves as a team to fear in the AFC. How real are they? We will see in the playoffs. But with that said, Lamar Jackson here should be able to step up to the occasion and play quite well, in my opinion, being a high-scoring game. At number 8, we have Josh Allen versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, this is not the most marquee matchup for, well, it's a marquee matchup for Josh Allen, but this isn't the best matchup for fantasy football. I could see Josh Allen definitely having a struggle in this matchup up against the Pittsburgh Steelers, but overall, I feel like Josh Allen has played so well this year. Even in a close game up against the Pittsburgh Steelers, against a tough defense, I feel like he should be able to get it done as quarterback 8. At number 10, we have Deshaun Watson at the Chicago Bears, a matchup of the team that should have Deshaun Watson versus the team that lucked into getting Deshaun Watson because of the ineptitude of the front office in Chicago. Deshaun Watson at the Chi-Town Bears. Now, I do think the Chicago Bears will be able to keep up in this matchup up against the Houston Texans, and I do believe they keep it close. It seems as though David Johnson is going to end up missing this matchup this week, which is definitely big tough for the Houston Texans, which means they're definitely going to have to be throwing the ball a lot more, considering Duke Johnson does not always look like he is on one, and he kind of looks sluggish in some games, so I think Deshaun Watson should be able to air the ball out a relatively decent amount here at the Chicago Bears. At number 9, at number 10, we have Taysom Hill at the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, one thing about Taysom Hill is that his stats look awful at the end of the game, right? He throws like fucking 90 yards or something, but he somehow scores a bunch of touchdowns, runs the ball a million times, and ends up as a top 10 fantasy football option on the week at the Philadelphia Eagles. Is a bum-ass defense that will not be able to contain the Taysom Hill man, Taysom Hill. Now on to quarterback rankings 11 through 20. So if you guys have ended up enjoying this video thus far, please make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. At number 11, we have TB12, Tampa Bay, Tom Brady versus the Minnesota Vikings. And in this one, I am not really too sure how this game will go. We've seen the Tampa Bay Buccaneers look like world beaters. They legitimately have the best roster on paper, in my opinion, in the NFL, but on paper doesn't mean shit if you cannot compete on Sunday. Tom Brady really struggles in night games as of recently, but this is not a night game. This is a middle of the day game. This is an important day or an important game for both sides of the ball. Tampa Bay as well as Minnesota with playoff aspirations. Minnesota should be able to play decent in this one, but their defense isn't all that great, so I expect TB12 to be explosive in this one, so I got him at number 11. At number 12, we have Big Ben Roethlisberger at the Buffalo Bills. Big Ben definitely disappointed in a huge way last week up against the Washington football team. That should have been an absolute wrap. Don't be silly, wrap your willy type deal for Big Ben Roethlisberger, but the guy just could not get it going. His receivers were just dropping the ball. The fucking Benny Snell couldn't score on the 1-yard line. It was just like the offense was completely dysfunctional up against the Buffalo Bills. This is an important game for the Steelers because they lost a game, and now the Chiefs are sniffing up that ass to try to get that number 1 spot. So the Steelers have to be on point here up against the Buffalo Bills, and I think they look much better than they did last week up against the Washington football team. At number 13, we have Matty Ice Baby dun 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 at the Los Angeles Chargers. Now you might be thinking, Nick, why is Matt Ryan at quarterback 13 if he's playing the Chargers? The Chargers stink. You're not wrong there, Mr. or Mrs. who says that. But with that said, Matt Ryan looks like a different breed without Julio Jones, and the different breed meaning he's not looking like a different breed of like excellence. Like, you know how DK Metcalf, he's simply a different breed from these other wide receivers. He's jacked, he's fucking huge, he makes every catch. Matt Ryan, without Julio Jones, just doesn't look like he knows how to play football as well. Up against the LA Chargers, though, that kind of shifts the equation into making Matt Ryan more reliable this week. So I will fire him up here at quarterback 13, but he has been pretty miserable this season without Julio Jones. At number 14, we have the Lord of Kissin' Titties, Mitchell Trubisky, versus the Houston Texans. This is a huge prove-it game for Mitchell Trubisky to beat the ever-living shit out of the Houston Texans. Will it happen? Probably not, but Mitch Trubisky has been decent for fantasy football thus far this season when he has been starting after he was pulled for Big Dick Nicholas Foles. So I think that Mitchell Trubisky should be pretty solid in this matchup up against the Houston Texans. At number 15, we have Matthew Stafford versus the Green Bay Packers. Matthew Stafford always steps up to the occasion like I talked about earlier with Aaron Rodgers up against the Green Bay Packers. He puts on his thinking cap and actually thinks about where he's going to use his humongous arm to throw the fucking ball. Matthew Stafford up against Green Bay is definitely a decent option, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Packers beat the shit out of Matthew Stafford and he was just sitting there crying, pouting for mercy on the ground. So Matthew Stafford, quarterback 15. At number 16, we have Send in the Car, as the fantasy footballers would say. Derek Carr, the Carnator, versus the Indianapolis Colts. Derek Carr has been good and bad. Last week, he literally just murdered. Julius Caesar style, Derek Carr murdered the fucking Jets. All right, the Jets literally finally thought they were going to win a game. Greg Williams, Mr. Heat, called an all-out blitz. Tug to Henry Ruggs destroys the New York Football Jets' hope of winning one fucking game this season. Derek Carr versus Indianapolis is a different matchup, though. It's not the New York Football Jets. It's not a bum defense. It's a legit defense in the NFL. So I don't think Derek Carr does good this week. Quarterback 16. Number 17, we have, you like that, Kirk Cousins at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, we have seen the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense get absolutely torched, like up against the Chiefs. They look bad against the Giants. They've looked bad this season in multiple spots, but will they look bad up against Mr. Primetime God, Kirk Cousins? I'm not sure. So I got Captain Kirk at 17. They may look to run the ball a lot, but Tampa Bay has a good run defense. So this game could really go either way, but I'm sure Zimmer does not give two fucks if they're good at defending the run. He'll just hand the ball to Dalvin Cook 7 zillion times. Number 18, we have the man with 12 kids, the lover of tight ends, not only because he likes Antonio Gates and all the other tight ends in Indianapolis, but because he's fucked his wife so many times that he has 11 zillion kids. Phillip Rivers at the Las Vegas Raiders. Phillip Rivers is in for a pretty big spot here. We could definitely impress the rest of the crowd and supplant the Indianapolis Colts as a good team in the AFC playoff race. Up against the Raiders could be a good matchup for Rivers, but again, you definitely have to worry about the fact that sometimes the Indianapolis Colts go into extreme run mode and just run the ball 7 zillion times with Jonathan Taylor and Nyheim Hines. At number 19, we have Teddy Two Gloves, Teddy Roosevelt, Teddy Bridgewater versus the Denver Broncos. This is a great matchup for Mr. Two Gloves here. Now, he does not have all of his wide receivers. Curtis Samuel may miss. He looks like he could play. DJ Moore, in my opinion, definitely going to miss. Christian McCaffrey looks like he is going to miss as well. So it's turning into a shit show in Carolina. So Teddy Bridgewater, his upside is hurt in this one without two of his potentially main wide receivers. Closing in on the top 20, we have Jalen Hurts versus the New Orleans Saints. Hurts is ranking in at number 20 strictly based on upside. I could see Jalen Hurts really putting the murder game down on the Saints, but the Saints defense has been so stout, and we really have no idea how to feel about Hurts due to the fact that the offense could, and Doug Peterson could just pull him. Right? What happens if Hurts plays like shit, goes like 2 for 12, 2 drives in, no scores, a pick? Do they pull him for Carson Wentz? Are they pot committed to Jalen Hurts? I don't know. And frankly, I don't even know if Doug Peterson knows because he's so tipsy-turvy in this offense. The guy's probably going to lose his fucking job. He has no idea how to coach. Ever since he called the Philly, he's been a complete and utter dense motherfucker. So Jalen Hurts versus New Orleans has a lot of upside due to his running potential, but he could also get pulled. So let me know what you guys think down below about Jalen Hurts, because I feel like he's the most polarizing quarterback for this week in fantasy football. So thank you guys all so much for watching this video. If you did end up enjoying, please make sure that you hit that subscribe button down below. Not only is it free, I put out content every single day to help you guys win that 2020 fantasy football championship. So have a great rest of your guys' day. I love you all. MyBookie.ag. Have a great rest of your guys' day. As always, good boy.